Hey everyone, it's Tony George. We're talking NFL playoffs this weekend. We're going to be talking specifically about the Tampa Bay and Detroit game, which intrigues me greatly. I'm only on one side play this weekend. It's a 7-unit position in the Bills and Chiefs game. And I've got a very detailed write up on this one. Really did a deep dive on that. Um, and I kind of like the game because, for various reasons. But the other three games, there's just too much chalk, in terms of if you like the favorite. Especially on Saturday. The only way I would mess around on Saturday, this is a divisional round of the playoffs, and I can tell you of all these 8 teams that are in this upcoming weekend, nobody's here by accident. I can't stress that enough. Now, the wild card, there's some teams that kind of back in there because this happened and that happened and the other thing happened, like the Steelers. And you saw what happened with a team that wasn't a quality football team. Going on the road with a third-string quarterback, missing their best defensive player, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty self-explanatory. But on Saturday, you've got a couple of 9.5-point favorites. I'd probably, the prudent thing, I can't really see a super clear path to where Houston and Green Bay can win outright. I honestly think these are Baltimore and quite frankly, the Niners, even though the Baltimore smacked them like a redheaded stepchild on Monday Night Football 3-4 weeks ago, whatever it was. Made them look really bad. They're still the 2 best teams in football. So I was doing a show of my StreamYard podcast, The Vegas Beat, this week with Griff Murphy, since the Gridiron Six-Pack's over. If you want to watch that, we spent 50 minutes talking about last week and then talking about this week. You can catch that at TGeorgeSports over on Twitter. At TGeorgeSports. Follow me. I'll be putting out maybe some halftime line free picks this weekend. I give a lot of player props over there for free that I don't do on YouTube. But anyway, or at Facebook, just type in Tony George Sports. I have a group page. The show's archived there. But I put a question to him. I said, let's leave Kansas City and Buffalo out of it because we have a spread of under 3. But we have 3 games here where it's almost a touchdown or almost 10 points. And if you had a gun to your head, Griff, who would you take for the outright upset? Who's most likely to upset Team A underdog versus Team B favorite? And he said Tampa Bay. And I agree with him, to a certain degree. I'm never going to lay points with a team that I think the other team has a clear path to beat them straight up. When you're talking about a big favorite. And 6.5, 7 points in the NFL is a ton of points. I don't care who you're listening to, what podcast, what, ESPN, Fox, CBS, these guys, gambling shows on Fox or ESPN. I've been doing this 32 years. I've seen this movie before. That being said, when you take a look at this Tampa Bay and Detroit game, you've got Detroit coming off the biggest win basically in franchise history in the modern era. In the Super Bowl era, it's definitely the biggest win they've ever had. Bar none. They're celebrating. They should be. Dan Campbell's done a hell of a job with this football team. They got playmakers all over the place, but their defense stinks. Now, they were able to hold the Rams off by 1 point. This is the Rams who backed into the playoffs. The Rams story was a great story. McVay did his best job coaching ever this year, but the Rams weren't all that. They beat them by 1. And the difference in the game was red zone. The Rams went in the red zone 3 times, walked away with 3 field goals. The Lions went in, walked away with 3 touchdowns. That's the difference in the ball game. That's it. and still was 1-point game. Tampa Bay, we all know about the Eagles' free fall. I mean, it's ugly. 10-1 and then just absolutely imploded. I mean, imploded. The last 6, 7 games they played were just ugly, honestly. And there were games earlier this year where they skated by. And I was saying early in the year, this team is rated way too high. You know, they're just... That being said, you take a look at Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield is unbeaten in his playoff. He's only played in 3 playoff games. He's 3-0 against the spread. He's thrown 7 touchdown passes, had 1 pick. He also is a little bit elusive. He can buy some time in the pocket. And he's got a pair of receivers that are just as good as anybody that Detroit's got. And Goodwin and Evans. And Otten is a very good tight end. He's underrated. I had a big prop bet on him last weekend. I think the reception was like 3.5. What do you have, 8? He's the leading receiver on the team. And their defense absolutely made Philadelphia look like a butt clown. And you take into the fact that Tampa Bay, in a big-time playoff football game, has a better defense. The better defense is getting points. And I know through the annals of time and how times have changed, and Tony, you need to evolve, you're too old school, this, that, and the other. Defense wins championships. If you don't believe me, I'll give you a recent example. Just call up the Washington Huskies from the national title game. Ask them what happened when the better defense, they came up against a better defense. Although the better defense is laying what, 4 points, 4.5 points? Didn't make a difference. Better defense wins championships. If Tampa Bay's defense played like they did against Philadelphia, Detroit's going to have a real tough time covering 6.5 points. And that's exactly what I think is going to happen. I think the over might be in jeopardy here. And bear in mind, the Lions' defense is the worst in the NFL at giving up huge plays. And Baker Mayfield likes to stretch the field vertically. He is not afraid to gun it down the field. You know, and they got nothing to lose. And the hype and the pressure is all on the Detroit Lions here. Just so you know. That weighs into it. The over-celebration factor weighs into it. You know, are they the better team? Yeah, but not by that much. I'm going to put a small leader. And bear in mind, it's a free play. I'm going to take Tampa to cover the number here. I'm going to take Tampa to cover the number. Now, I know that I'm not a huge Todd Bowles fan. He'll probably figure out a way to screw it up. But at day's end here, I like what I've seen out of Tampa here down the latter stages of the season. And I like what I've seen out of Baker Mayfield. He's no slouch. Give me the Lions. Over at Docs, we'll have college basketball and NBA up. We're on major rolls in both them all weekend long. Don't forget to tune in to the Doc Sports Happy Hour Hoop Show, which is Friday. It'll be right here on this YouTube channel with myself and Griff Murphy breaking down the biggest games in college and pro basketball over the weekend, just taking a look at them. And also, we have 2-pack on Saturday, and our 2-pack on Sunday features our top play of the weekend, a 7-unit pick for you. Last week in Wild Card Weekend, we didn't lose a single card. Come on. I'm right over there.